I think it's really important that the growth model that we need to have going forward is not the one that we have now and not the one that has been endorsed by the G8. Albert Einstein once said, you can't fix a big problem using the same thinking, strategies, tactics and so on that got you in the problem in the first place. And to a large extent, that is still the dominant thinking. If we cannot develop a way of bridging the gap between the rich and poor going forward, we will never deal with the question of climate chaos and the climate catastrophe, because it has to do with consumption patterns and the inequality in consumption patterns. So, for example, if all of us in the world want to have the lifestyle that people in Italy and England and the United States have, we would need 8 planets, right? And so clearly we have one planet, we have to share it in a more equitable way, and for big countries like India and China, they have to also set an example of ensuring that their development paths is one that actually promotes greater equality, because in the long term it's in the interest of the rich as well. I think the one thing we certainly haven't missed at this G8 is the absence of President George W. Bush. I think that his absence as somebody who was a climate denialist has been really helpful, and Barack Obama has really helped to get the 2 degrees commitment in. The fact that there's agreement on long-term targets is a positive thing. However, on the negative side, on climate, they have not committed to short-term, mid-term targets, and without that we don't know how we will get to the long-term targets. And the other thing they haven't committed to is a financial package to support developing countries to adapt to climate change. So there's work to be done, and particularly Barack Obama was very honest, I think, in sort of acknowledging while small progress has been made, much more work needs to be done. If we look at Italy, the host country this year, they are cutting aid by 500 million euros. We would like to hear from the Italian government whether any shift in their thinking has happened as a result of this G8. Overall though, our assessment is that this G8 is different from other G8s in the sense that we could call the moment we are living in now a perfect storm, because over the last less than 3 years we've had a fuel price crisis, food price crisis, the financial crisis, the ongoing poverty crisis, and the ongoing climate crisis. All of these have almost like sort of come together. There's a point of convergence that we've seen, and some of us have been saying a good big crisis is a terrible thing to waste and squander. We should have been thinking about how do we turn this crisis into opportunity. And what vision is lacking in the G8 is that they are still treating each of these crises as standalone problems rather than thinking about how do we respond to these problems in an integrated, non-fragmented way.